Hello and welcome to RajTCoaching, the place where you'll find information about your business growth and your personal growth. Today I'll talk to you about something that you perhaps have faced all your life, and that's the voice in your head. So what is that voice in your head and how do you control it instead of it controlling you? Where does that voice in your head come from and why is it so hard to keep it quiet? Do you ever notice the voice in your head has a lot of self-judgment? How come when you try to turn off the voice in your head, it doesn't seem to work? For most people, the mind has developed into something that's constantly describing, comparing and judging. When you don't have any awareness, you wouldn't notice how busy the mind is all the time. When you notice it though, you just assume that it was you thinking, but you didn't think of your thinking as judgmental, did you? You just thought that your opinions were the right ones. Because you were comfortable with your opinions for a long time, they didn't bother you. But then in time of stress, when the voice in your head would keep you up all night, you began to notice things were out of balance. Most people have this type of chatter in their mind that fluctuate to different degrees all the time. The difference is that some people identify with it and feel it's them, while others realize that their mind has taken off a life of its own and they decided to do something about it to stop the voice from ruining their life. One of the most helpful things in this process is quietening the voice in your head, is to realize where it came from and what it's doing there. Understanding the origin of the voice will help you let go of the judgmental reactions during this process. One of the first steps to eliminating the self-judgment and chatters is to recognize the voice in your head never means you any harm. You might find it at times that it's trying to sabotage whatever it is that you want to do, and it may be the source of self-criticism and unkind comments, but that was never its intent. It never wanted to sabotage your well-being. Believe it or not, originally it was developed to help you feel emotionally safe and happy. And usually it operates on the basis that if you're trying to do something, it will protect you from getting you into any harm. The inner voice of self-judgment develops in a young mind with the emerging of memory and logic. Before memory and logic develop, we stayed in the present moment most of the time, where there is only the desire and action to express ourselves. But before memory and logic developed, when we were kids, if we wanted to go outside and play, we would just run outside and play. We wouldn't care about anything as well. However, just before you went outside to play, if your mum tells you to clean your room or do your homework before you went to play, no doubt, you would be punished if you didn't do what your mum had asked you, or you would have faced the effects of your mother, whatever she would bestow upon you as punishment if you didn't listen to what she had to say. So what would happen then is, as memory developed, you could recall your mum scolding you in the past for not cleaning your room or doing your homework or whatever her command was before you went to play. With logic in your mind, you would link the cause with the painful effect of being punished. And when you are thinking of going to play, or while going to play, you would hear in your head a little voice that would tell you, remember, I should clean my room or do my homework before going to play. The voice was an echo from your memory trying to tell you how to logically avoid emotional pain and other types of punishment. So sometimes after being punished or feeling something unpleasant as an agreement, you would come up with thoughts in your mind that would tell you, I should have cleaned my room or done my homework. That gets stored in your brain, somewhere in your memory. The voice was learning, and it reminded you that whatever it is you have to do in order to be happy was a certain pattern. Now, your memory was also storing all the suggestion from the voice to be repeated back to you at a later stage if you would ever need it. We all learn to follow the voice in order to avoid breaking other people's rules, in which in turn gets us punished. The voice could could never know what the future turned out to be or what the future entailed, but it echoed the rules from the past and what would cause us pain, and also the type of punishment you may be getting if you didn't listen to what the voice had to say. In this way, the voice in our head always lives in the past and projects assumption of the future. It doesn't know the future, but it assumes this was what will happen if you didn't listen to its rule. It keeps us from experiencing the present moment. The voice also tells us what to do in order to get rewarded with attention and love. For example, you end up saying to yourself, perhaps, I should clean my room, or do my homework, eat my breakfast, eat more vegetable, or get better grades at school. Be quiet when the adults or the elders tell me to do so, etc. and etc. Do these things and people will like you, accept you, and love you. Do these things and you will experience what may seem to many as happiness. The voice echoed all the rules based on the punishment and reward stored in your memory. As a young child, we saw adults as very unpredictable. We began to trust the little voice in our head more and more than anyone else that we knew. Even your parents who loved you but couldn't be completely trusted because they would also punish you if you did something wrong. Maybe you were blamed and punished for something that your siblings or other members of your family had done, and that concluded that you couldn't trust your mum or dad with the truth. The voice in your head was the guide to emotional safety. In a world where adults had the power, complete power to punish you and take away your rewards and your momentum or the temporary happiness as you would have seen. So what happened is we created that voice in our head by building and identifying memories with rules from the past. So we created that voice in our head by building emotions and identifying memories with rules and storing them. We identified and invested a lot of faith in the voice as something we would trust and we should trust and could trust in an uncertain world. It became like a protector or a guardian angel, if you will, speaking in your mind, telling you what to do, when and how. We gave it great authority and power over our choices, and in doing so, we trusted it to be right most of the time, or if not, some people would have it all the time. The voice grew and learned to look at things in the past and gave it interpretation of what you should have done and shouldn't have done, judging on your past experience. It gives you advice about your future, what you should do and shouldn't do, even though it doesn't know if that's correct. It only knows the correct thing from the past. Its opinion was built with the intelligence of your own logic. It drew it from every moment based on evidence, again, of the past. Later in life, the voice sounds like you speaking and thinking when it's only the echoes of memory that you have gone through before, memories that you have lived, and it's only, like I said, echoes from the past. Sometimes you mistakenly put your trust in the voice from memory and thinking that it was you making this judgment, it was you thinking, when in reality it was the voice inside your head telling you, do this, otherwise this would happen. You lose your identity and you follow the rules of should and shouldn't so much it echoes from the past instead of beginning of you being in the moment right now, in the present. When we continue with this approach to live life, we create problems as we get older. When we were young, our emotional well-being was based on how other people reacted to us. The logical rules were created based on the rewards and punishment given to us by others, not to ourselves, but by others in our surrounding. But as we got older, people didn't punish us anymore, and people didn't reward us anymore the same way as we were when we were children. So what would happen then is you would work hard at something, but no one would notice and no one would reward you. At the same time, you might feel a fear or nervousness that someone would do something against you if you didn't please them, or if you didn't do as they would want you to do. Wondering about what other people think of you is a clue to the past pattern that you are trying to please others with the rules of should and shouldn't do from the past. Problems also arises because many rules in the mind were based on faulty assumption. For example, your mum might be upset at something or somebody else, but not you, in her life at a specific moment, but then she snaps at you when you ask for something. The interpretation from the voice would say, I should not ask for what I want. You incorrectly assume that you were at fault and store that false belief in your memory. Perhaps your mum is kind and wants you to say wants to say yes at what you want, but she has good sense for not giving you what it is that you want. For example, if you wanted a car, the expensive mobile that your friends have got, or the pony that you've asked for, your disappointment is painful and the logic gets you distorted with the agreement. And then you would identify with your mind, asking for what I want only leads to pain. And you store that in your brain, in your memory. The mind mistakenly assumes that you asking was the cause of the pain. It wasn't aware that the emotional attachment, expectation, or the practical aspect of maintaining a car, having an expensive mobile, or keeping a pony. The voice wouldn't include these into an understanding in the memory. It assumes that everything about you, and only you, was the reason for you to get pain. Whatever it is that you asked was the reason for you to get pain. Even if the voice made it about someone else, it would hide that completely away. It doesn't know what are the responsibilities of having a car, expensive mobile, or a pony, for example. It only knows that your mum had said no, and it's because you asked that specific question, or your dad has refused you something. She or he shouldn't be that way, is what your memory would tell you. She shouldn't be that way towards you. And the memory stored is that the rule for you to follow is do not ask questions, otherwise it will result in pain. If you had a broken heart in the past, the voice would make some sort of rules so you didn't get hurt again. It would declare all men or all women are the same. It would swear by it that the whole gender as a solution to not being emotionally hurt is not what you should be doing. It would say to you that falling in love just leads to heartbreak. It made a declaration not based in the truth, but in later life, the rules you made about you afraid of expressing your love or asking for what you want is what you have to follow. The same goes if you had an abusive parent or abusive member of your family. At a later stage in life, your voice in the head would tell you that you shouldn't be close or emotionally attached to people in your surrounding. So what happens then is when you become parent yourself, you'll find it hard to bond with your children because of that voice telling you you shouldn't get that close, otherwise it will result in pain. There was another part of your mind monitoring constantly for exaggeration and common sense in those moments. You had trusted its logic implicitly. So for many years, you didn't question the exaggeration of the mind or of the voice or the faulty logic of the voice. You agreed with the rules with no consideration whatsoever for how it agreed to the rules, with no consideration for how it made sense or how it might limit your happiness and choices for the rest of your life. Perhaps a second heartbreak would bring a harsh criticism, such as, I should have listened, but I didn't. So here you go, I am the one to blame. I'm such an idiot, I should have known better. I should have done this, I should have done that. You end up going all the should and would. As you get older, you learn to accept harsher and harsher comments from the voice. The hardness was accepted under the assumption that criticism might make you obey the rules. You didn't get hurt anymore. So you become a slave to the voice. The more you obey, the less you become hurt. So was the perception. You are sold on the logic of following the rules for punishing you. So the voice would have a path to emotional safety, a safety net, for example, where you would have to listen. The more you listen to that voice, the less painful you were. But on the other side, you get yourself withdrawn from the reality of the world. Sometimes as adult, you become so busy following the rules, you don't stop to wonder if they are right or wrong, or they're true or false. No other part of your mind has been assigned to limiting belief or self-criticism. You continue to live with the paradigm that the voice in your head was here to help you all along, was here to make you feel happy, even if it's not true anymore. You invested the personal power of your faith in the voice for so long that it took a different life. It took a different life of its own. Your life didn't matter anymore. You had to live your life according to that voice in your head. It runs repeatedly with self-judgment, chatter completely separate from you. It's no longer a helpful protector or guardian angel, because it's largely your own voice program into the memory, so you don't recognize it as a separate entity altogether. You usually don't see it as a separate entity until you're stressed and you can't sleep at night because it bothers you so much. There's so much going on at night. This problem, that problem. If I don't do this, I'll get that. If I don't do this, I'll get this. All of that keeps hammering inside your head that you end up stressing. You spend your energy trying to satisfy the rules, hardly noticing that those rules are contradicting each other in your mind. For example, we should go after the promotion, whereas there is a conflict in your heart telling you you need to spend more time with your family. Or sometimes you'll get another voice in your head saying, I should ask her out. And then there's a conflict in your heart telling you that the brain, the mind, is programming you to understand that if you get hurt by asking her out, don't come and see me. The voice programs you that, hang on a minute, if you ask her out, if you get rejection, what do you do then? So what happens then is creates fear of rejection. Amidst this chaos in your mind, you forget that the rules were intended to bring you to happiness, or bring happiness in your life. Yet emotional love, joy hardly have room to be felt amidst this constant chatter for what you should and shouldn't do. At this time, your protector or guardian angel has fallen. And you may be in the fearing zone. You may have fear and false belief and spend its time yelling at you all the time. The voice will yell at you, you shouldn't do this, you idiot, you're this, you're that, and sometimes swear at you that you start to feel little, and then you allow other people to belittle you. For some people, the life crisis comes from when they find out they followed the rules in their mind and didn't actually end up being happy in their lifetime. The little voice that you assume would help you isn't helping you anymore. For others, midlife crisis or cynicism may not even be enough to challenge the false rules in their head. You might just make new rules and opt for new experiences instead. So you end up closing that voice, thinking, what have I done? And then you start to take control back of your life. The reality is to accept that the voice in your head does not know how to be happy. It only knows what it stored in the memory from past events in your life. It doesn't know the future event or what is to happen, or how other people will react to you. It knows how we should have behaved in the past in order to get the best reaction from people in the past, not the future, like I said. It has knowledge of what we have to do for others to accept us, not about how to accept ourselves. The voice does not know how to express love, joy, or laughter. It's completely cut out. You can free yourself from the faulty logic of the mind by choosing not to believe it anymore, but the voice will not eagerly let go of you. Just as thought of being without the voice can bring fear, you might be so dependent on the voice that you might be scared to let go of it. You are a powerful creator. Always remember that you are a powerful creator. You made it strong. You become so strong by investing your faith in your voice for so many years. Even though you can't seem to move at times without the voice, always remember the voice is not stronger than you are. It's like a large tree in your garden. Think of it this way. It's like a large tree in your garden that has been there for ages, and you don't know how long, and it's grown roots. You may not be able to pull it out with your bare hands, just in a day like that. But with some tools and some time, you can get rid of it. It may appear stronger in the moment, but as you have time and intent and faith on your side, all you need to do is add some tools and take care of that job, and you will remove that obstacle, which is the tree. In effect, the voice in your mind. You will challenge the rules when you are tired of being unhappy. You will let go of the mind you no longer accept and the illusion that it creates, the illusion of emotional safety that it offers you all the time. And if you didn't follow it, it will bring fear. You will challenge the voice in your head when the fear of suffering under its faulty logic is greater than the fear of being without the illusion and protection. You will defy the faulty logic when you realize it's based on fear. And you don't want to be afraid anymore. You take control. You desire to be happy. You have the force that propels you to personal freedom. You want to be happy. You don't want to listen to the voice anymore. You know it's there for your protection. But always remember, it's in your mind and you control your mind. The path to emotional integrity and harmony with your mind is through awareness, acceptance, and forgiveness. Something the voice in your head knows nothing about. It doesn't know about forgiveness. It doesn't know about happiness. It knows only about judgment, critical judgment, and also putting you down if you don't obey it. You will begin to discover the first time that your happiness in life has little to do with other people's reaction and more to do with expressing your own emotional and love. The rules of the voice in your head is for you to follow it all the time. It wants you to be a slave to it, to follow it so that way you'll be happy, careless whether the results are right or wrong. It will direct you to a path where you have to think and believe and live according to its logic, where there's no space for happiness and love. Fortunately, though, there is a lot of heart to do with love and what you can do with love. Fortunately, there is a lot more that you can do as a person about thinking, and you can think yourself out of this voice. You have many other dimensions that you can look for, guidance in overcoming the voice in your head and creating happiness in your life. You can start waking up for you, not waking up and living for that voice telling you what to do. Whether you realize it or not, the voice in your head has been doing the very best it could to guide you to be happy and successful. However, it's been operating on an outdated set of guidance, or if you will, like a software in your brain that's so, in your mind that's so old that needs to be updated. It's no longer is able to apply to you. You've evolved. The mind hasn't. The voice hasn't. Its intent has always been for your happiness, but its method that it's applying has become exaggerated to the point of being abusive. It understands that you need to follow it for you to be happy. It does not understand that you can be free to choose your own happiness. So understanding this is a big step towards quietening that voice and also allowing you to let go of complaints and judgment about yourself. In the way, what happened is you will realize that the fallen protector or guardian angel that we call the voice, recognizing that it did the very best that it could, will help you break the judgment that you have about the voice. With the understanding that it never meant to do any harm to you, comes the opportunity to accept and move on. Accept and have compassion. Acceptance and compassion for yourself is an important first step towards redeeming yourself. And redemption of the fallen angel lives in your head, so you need to kind of brush it away. Always remember this. You control your mind and your thoughts and feelings that you have, not the other way around. Your mind does not control you. Your emotion does not control you. Your feelings does not control you. You control that all the time. And in order for you to control that, you've got to live in the present moment right now. You've got to use the past as a stepping stone, not as a guidance for your path in the future. Use the experience of the past to know exactly how you've lived, but not how you should live. Always be in the now. Be in the middle path. Do not dwell in the past. Do not dwell in what if in the future, but live in the moment right now. Doing that, you will be able to get rid of the voice in your mind that controlled you all the time. Now you will be able to control it. You know it's there. You will just live along the line of, oh, okay, thanks, but then you make up your own judgment. I hope this video helped you. I know there's a lot of people out there who have these voices in their mind and don't know how to control it. There are many things you can do in order to see that voice and hear that voice and feel it. You might end up doing things like meditation, yoga, go for a long walk. Distract yourself from your daily routine that you've done before. Do not allow fuel that would burn the voice at a greater distance and control you. Do not let it be the engine that drives you, but you drive it. You control your feelings. I hope this video helped you. And if you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me. I'll be more than happy to help you. Thank you very much. Take care now. Bye-bye.